It looks like an elegant old wooden house. But this old wooden house holds an abundance of ancient secrets, traditions, and history. The typical Hue garden house, or nhà ruộng in Vietnamese, is like a distillation of Hue itself, a pure, proud monument to a former era. It carries the echoes of the final Vietnamese imperial dynasty.
Hue was the capital of Vietnam for more than 100 years. Of course, the Vietnamese people accorded much importance to Hue as the captain of the king, because according to
Professor Hu Ngọc is Vietnam's most renowned cultural scholar. He describes himself as an importer and exporter of culture.
Because according to Confucianism, the king represented the emperor of heavens, to rule over the people and to realize harmony between the heaven, earth, and mankind.
This is the tomb of Gia Long, the first Nguyen king. Gia Long defeated the previously dominant northern forces with his army, eventually reaching China to reunify Vietnam under his rule in 1802.
During 2 centuries of division between North and South Vietnam, the ancestors of Gia Long, the founder of the Nguyen dynasty, ruled over the southern part, whose central town was Hue. So he transferred the capital from Hanoi to Hue in the center.
The site chosen for the new citadel and palace was very much influenced by Chinese geomantic principles, or feng shui. In 1804, tens of thousands of workers were forced to build a wall and moat 10 kilometers long. The water for the moat was taken from the Perfume River that flows through Hue. Inside the imperial city was the imperial enclosure, called the Purple Forbidden City. The enclosure was reserved for the Nguyen royal family. It was from here that the Nguyen kings left the imprint of their reign.
The Nguyen kings were very excellent administrators. So Vietnam was divided in provinces. And this administrative division remains until now. It is very remarkable.
Although 13 rulers sat on the imperial throne between 1802 and 1945, only 7 were given the honour of their own royal mausoleum. The tombs have rich and diverse architectural styles that are deeply imbued with Hue's distinctive culture. Most of them are designed to blend in harmoniously with nature. The Nguyen King's appreciation for nature, art and architecture is recognized in Vietnam as one of their great legacies.
In general, they are scholars. They liked the poetry. They encouraged art, theater, and architecture. The classical house, the nhà giường, for example.
Miss Tang is a resident of one of Hue's most beautiful nhà ruộng. The house itself is steeped in royal history and demonstrates many of the principles and beliefs of the era.
In Hue houses, you go down a quiet alley from the gate, and there is a windbreak fence and a lake before the house. This type of style comes from feng shui. The windbreak fence stops bad spirits, bad winds, so before going to the house, you have to go around the side. You cannot enter from directly in front, because it brings bad luck to the family. Most houses in Hue have windbreak fences, big or small. These wooden houses are called nhà rường. Rường means column. The main wood used is jackfruit wood. The structure of the house is divided into 3 sections and 2 rooms. The main section in the middle is to honor Buddha, with ancestors on either side. The left section is for men, the right section is for women. There is a banner that the King Bao Dai gave to the Mandarin who lived here. There are 4 characters. They represent respect for parents, loyalty to the king, martial arts, and literature.
The Nha Rường style flourished under the reign of the Nguyen kings. But the kings contributed other cultural ingredients that gave the city of Hue its own distinct flavour. Vietnam's finest chefs were hand-picked and transferred to Hue to create new dishes for the royal family. The chefs adapted traditional local dishes by introducing new regional flavours and textures for Vietnamese royalty. The most distinctive feature of the imperial court food was the presentation. Hue food has always been based upon balancing tastes and ingredients with colours and designs, but royal food took culinary adornment to the extreme. Elegantly and colourfully presented, often in the form of animals, the dishes and their names were meant to impress and amuse. But while art, architecture and fine cuisine were embraced during the Nguyen dynasty, important political issues were neglected, like Vietnam's independence. The Nguyen kings came under mounting pressure from France and eventually succumbed to an all-out invasion in 1861.
La vie européenne de Hue, ville impériale, est à peu près concentrée dans ce carrefour et l'hôtel Morin. Du moins dans ces...
The French used the kings of Vietnam as tools to carry out their colonial administration and policy. Since French occupation, only 3 kings were patriotic, but other kings were puppet kings.
One of the patriot kings was Duy Tan. At the age of 16, he escaped from his palace in order to take part in an uprising of Vietnamese troops. The French were informed of the plan, and the leaders arrested and executed. Duy Tan was deposed and exiled to Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean.
The king represented the nation, or the symbol of the nation. So Confucianists, the scholars, revolted against the French. It was a nationwide patriotic movement. But this resistance movement was suppressed by the French.
Nationalist sentiments intensified in Vietnam during and after the First World War, largely because of the Russian Revolution. But these growing sentiments were not so sympathetic to Confucianism. They were as big a threat to the monarchy as they were to the French colonialists. The nominal reign of the Nguyen dynasty definitively came to an end in 1945, when the communists under Ho Chi Minh staged a revolt. The last emperor, Bao Dai, abdicated the throne and handed power over to the government of President Ho Chi Minh.
The kings of the Nguyen dynasty were attached to Confucianism, that is to say, conservatism, because Confucius always turned his eyes to the past. So no reforms, no revolutionary changes. And it is the reason why historians and particular revolutionaries in China and also in Vietnam condemn the Nguyen dynasties.
While the Confucian monarchical nature of the Nguyen dynasty may not fit with communist doctrine, the beauty and culture of Hue is considered by the Vietnamese as a national treasure. And in 1993, the Hui Citadel and tombs achieved World Heritage status. The garden houses of Hui are not so numerous now as before, but it is hoped that the spirit and ancient culture of Hui will live on, through preservation and restoration, but also through modern adaptations.